Hey, is your team still playing playoff basketball? I don't know what that's like. That's because my team got historically swept. But if you're in an NBA market and there's playoff basketball going on, it's probably a hard ticket to get, I imagine. Well, where do you go? Primary market sold out. What are your options? If you're like me, you've probably scoured the entire marketplace and you found, like I did, that the Game Time app is the best place. Trust me when I say this. I've tried them all. Game Time gives you panoramic seat views, unparalleled ticket coverage. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN, that is D-A-N, and get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Best app for NBA playoff tickets.
Billy, it felt like you were accusing Zaslow of being a front-runner on his Heat stuff, but Mike Ryan has basically been saying, I've checked out on basketball for 2 years the moment that I saw the Heat weren't going to be any good anymore. Mike Ryan has just checked out on all basketball because for 13 years he got to ride the highest highs, and then he said, I don't want to ride this anymore.
I just disagreed with all their moves. Like, they get rid of Kyle Lowry, which I hated.
Thank God.
And they brought in Terry Rozier. It's like a slap in the face to me. So, like, I've just hated their approach. I hated that they allowed everybody in the Eastern Conference that they were chasing that Eastern Conference banner with to get better while they lost, sometimes directly head-to-head and trying to acquire talent. It's been terrible. They're all about culture. They're all about trying hard, and yet their stars don't play half the season. They do all the same that everybody else does, and they've been living off of a reputation. Trust me, like making that run in the bubble, making that run as an 8th seed from the play-in on down, that's incredible outlier stuff that probably worked against the best interests of a franchise that wasn't that good to begin with.
Man, that Dame trade really didn't work out for anybody, huh? Because the Heat have ended up where they are, and Milwaukee is equally in bad footing.
Portland's better, though.
It seemed to work out for Boston.
Are they?
Yeah, it worked out great for Boston.
Right, yeah, they cleaned up the scraps of that trade. I just mean the Damian Lillard part of it.
Look, all you have is a result, and you could say, well, I guess the Miami Heat dodged one.
I'm not saying that.
I don't think we'd ever really know. How that would have gone with Dame, the fit, his health. He had a lot of stuff going on in his life that hasn't been like super reported on around the same time that he was told by the franchise he always loved and did the right thing by. We're not going to actually send you to the place that you want to go. We're going to make an example out of you and have the Ringer do our bidding for us.
It's just a shame, like, for him, for the Heat, for the Bucks, for everybody. And you look at all these teams that in the last 5 or 6 years were in the finals. You look at Phoenix, you look at Milwaukee, you look at even Denver, who's battling now. The Heat, all these teams that had these stars that you thought, oh, you can continue to build around some of those guys in their prime, let alone. And now they're all sort of floundering. Even for that matter, Golden State, the only reason they're there is because they took the star from one of the other teams, and that's the only reason they're still relevant.
By the way, I'm not hating on the Ringer. I think what the Ringer did, like obviously by their pro-Celtics personalities, was a masterstroke. It's why they have a banner. They reacted to that Lillard to Heat thing so out of proportion that it was such an outsized reaction that it beat the market, it established a narrative, and it got a lot of buy-in. Hey, this team that just made it to the finals as an 8 seed, we can't let them have an actual good player.
This is one of the things that has happened here on a day meant to laugh at the Miami Heat. We were defeated by the Ringer. It wasn't that long ago I was going to hang a Bill Simmons banner in here with Udonis Haslem of his face in Game 7. And Zaslow's just eaten all of your words, Mike, without rebuttal. I'm watching on television. They're saying get rid of Pat Riley. I haven't seen that on television before. That's not something in my lifetime. That's not something I have ever seen on television.
Such an easy stance to take. Look, in the last 5 years that we're talking about here, only 2 teams in the entire league have been to the finals multiple times. Only two. I mean, one of them won the title last year in Boston, and the other one's Miami. Like, that's it. Only 2 teams in the whole league have been to the finals multiple times.
And Dallas
made
the final last year.
Wait.
Okay.
And how does their window look? Because we've been laughing at Dallas all season long. Now you just got your ass kicked harder than any team has ever gotten its ass kicked in the playoffs before. Mm-hmm. I really sincerely hope that this is the wake-up call that we were sounding the alarms for.
Well, I think the wake-up call was when they decided to trade Jimmy Butler. Like, that's the signal that it's over. This run is over. Now we are going to make major changes.
But they slept through the previous wake-up calls. The time to trade him was in the offseason, and they totally butchered the Jimmy. It's fact. It's fact. They butchered it.
Mike, I'll agree with you in this, Zaz. He's right in that the moment you knew you weren't going to pay him, you got to get out. I mean, there's no culture. There's no.
Well, that's where I
them.
think they screwed up.
That's the misstep right there.
I think there was a little bit of hubris in that spot where it's okay. We know what happened in Minnesota. We know what happened in Chicago.
Philly.
Even though we've already Philly. I mean, like they essentially chose not to bring him back.
They chose not to pay him.
Right. We know the mess that he made over there. We know that he's a crazy person. But hey, we have Heat culture here. We have enough stability. He's going to play out the remainder of his contract here because we're us and they're not. And that was where they made their mistake. There was, I think, a lot of hubris involved there, and it backfired.
That to me is a key word because I think their last two big missteps involved a lot of hubris. From Pat Riley, sending out that memo, backing up the one player you never want to back into a corner, and also their whole approach to the Damian Lillard acquisition. Tyler Hero, take it or leave it. Using us, I'm guilty of it. I was a mouthpiece for them. I played the game. I played the game way worse than the Ringer did.
You believe that's what it was as opposed to Joe Cronin
Hubris?
refusing to even engage?
Yes, because I think the refusal to even engage was Miami's hubris in approach to it in speaking through this show and saying, it's Tyler Hero, what are your options? Can you get anything better?
Yeah, but I mean, how many times in the league do negotiations for a trade start like that? And then eventually you'll work your way to the real trade.
That was what we talked about at the time. It's not that, hey, this is a good deal. Why isn't Portland doing it? It's you won't even engage in conversation. Your star does not want to be there anymore. We're already here. Let's work. Let's at least give me a counter, and then we'll work our way. This idea that we're not going to talk. But Mike, I don't know if that's hubris. The Jimmy Butler, hey, he's fine thing, that absolutely is hubris, which is crazy because you know who else made the same exact mistake? It was Tom Thibodeau in Minnesota, where he was just like, no, Jimmy's fine. Jimmy told them as soon as their season was over, the last season, hey, not going to pay me, get rid of me. And Tibbs was like, no, he's fine. Jimmy's my guy. I understand him. Just when the season starts, everything will be fine, and everything unraveled. And so for them to not learn from that mistake at all and for them to think that, oh, no, things are different here, even though this guy's demonstrated a specific way of handling that situation. It was a huge misstep. To me, the Lillard thing is just like, it's what I was talking about earlier in the show with you, which is, yo, man, sometimes people just don't want to do a deal.
So here's
Pat Riley's fault.
The four teams involved in that Lillard pursuit, Portland, Milwaukee, Boston, Miami. All the GMs got extended that were involved in that deal. Milwaukee's GM somehow got extended. Portland's GM got extended. The Boston Celtics are NBA champs right now. Like, Miami's approach, they failed, and it ended up strengthening at the time Milwaukee, but Lillard just hasn't worked out for them, and made Boston into a champion.
Right.
We failed, guys. We failed. The plan didn't work, and it made everybody else stronger. It was a disaster that some saw 2 years ago. And we wasted 2 years. But we just wasted 2 years with arguably the greatest head coach in NBA history.
I don't think you can ever say we failed when it's trying to trade for someone. Now, if you trade for
two finals appearances in 5 years is not failure.
I mean, you made Milwaukee and Boston better. Like, they didn't want to deal with you, and it feels like they screwed you over and said, and F you, Drew Holiday's going to Boston. Like, it was just such a disaster.
But that's not Miami that did that.
No, but Miami had a hand in it. And I do think that the hubris thing is real. Having lived through it and having spoken to it, and I remember the tone of Tyler Hero, take it or leave it, try to find something better.
No, I get it. What I'm saying to you is that's negotiations, and ultimately they don't trade a guy to 7 different teams. They trade him to one team. And so everyone else is inherently a quote-unquote loser, but that's not the same as making a mistake. Now, if you want to do, hey, Kyle Lowry trading Dragic and Precious Achiuwa to not only trade for Kyle Lowry, but to overpay him, that's a misstep. To say, hey, instead of just eating the Kyle Lowry contract, trading for Terry Rozier and having another year of that, those are missteps to me. And obviously the Jimmy Butler thing we just talked about. But when you say, oh, I thought you were supposed to get Kevin Durant, but you didn't, like, yeah, man, it's not a unilateral thing. Someone else is working on this.
That's why I didn't invoke that, even though I have my problems with that. I'm sure, like, that's been the one that's eluded Pat his entire time down here. But, yeah, Kyle Lowry, they made it to the finals in spite of that. But they've made some very bad moves here while developing some guys into big-time players. and contracts that guys have had nice careers in the NBA because of the development down here in Miami, but they've made mistakes.
I think that, like, the mistakes you're talking about are the real ones are marginal mistakes. Mistakes, yes, but marginal.
Yeah, trying to acquire a player, not getting him is not a mistake.
That's not a mistake.
I don't think nuking your entire season and having Jimmy Butler hold your season hostage.
That's a mistake. That's a mistake.
Yeah, that's a big time mistake
that's a
that
big
we
time mistake.
called
I'm
out
sorry.
at every step of the way.
That's a big time mistake. The Jimmy Butler thing, big time mistake. But not acquiring a trade, not consummating a trade.
Try to get this guy, try to get this guy, try to get that. Like, these aren't mistakes.
That's the job, bro.
Fair enough.
That's like saying
No,
But Dan, it's like saying Ted Williams was a failure because 60% of the time he didn't get on base.
This is how he and Heat fans have been influenced by the last 15 years. That ends with, "Hey, I'm out if you're not championship good in 2 years. I don't even care about basketball."
that
Wait a
is a
minute.
story.
When you talk about what's happened down here in 15 years of spoiling, is Miami gets all the guys. Miami's used to getting all the guys, and for many years they don't get the guys. They got Jimmy Butler. I don't know how they did that. It still confuses me. They didn't have any money, and they had Dion Waiters and Hassan Whiteside. I still don't understand how that happened.
By the way, they got all the guys. They've got 4 guys.
No, but
It was
but at
Zoe,
the start,
Shaq, LeBron,
at the start
and-
of Heat fans being obnoxious starts with a stage, and they got all the guys.
The Heat are just victims of their own mythology that they created, right? Which is championship culture. We're always in it, banners, and we always get the guy. The Godfather closes all the deals, right? And then when he doesn't close the deals, it's like, well, that's the job. You don't always get everyone that you want. It's like, but you've been telling me for 20 years now, we do get everyone that we want, and you got the big guys.
Who's
so
been
why
telling
can't
you that you get everyone?
No, they
No
just
one.
got some good players, so
Who's
now
been
we're
saying-
expecting that.
like literally in the history of their franchise, Shaq,
Hardaway.
LeBron.
Hardaway.
Hardaway was done
Zaz-
when they got him.
But Zaz,
when they
like-
got him, his knees were dust.
Okay.
Everyone's like, oh, it's like saying, oh, well, they got Jimmy Butler. Like, I knew Jimmy
Well, don't
Butler.
we say the same thing then about Shaq? Like, Shaq had 2 really good years, and that was it.
I mean,
But-
if you don't think this franchise has been yanking its own crank for 10 years off of this
Zaz,
reputation,
you've
that they've
been
built,
doing
like,
it
get
down
outta
here.
man.
Like, you've been doing it down
Outta
here.
here.
Whale hunting, The Godfather. They're going to
You're
get
a
a guy.
crank
They're going to do
yanker.
it. Like, you're
Who
part
said
of
it's gonna
you're
be
part of
yanker?
the
You're
you're
one
one
of
of
the
people who created
yankers.
this culture
You're
of,
one of the
of
yankers.
delusion
Ellisberg's
down
just in the
here.
corner
I'm
cranking
one of
that
the-
hog
I'm
to
one of the-
culture.
I'm one of the
Like,
yankers.
No. And it was
No
me.
one's cranking
and
their
you know
hog.
what? I sang a sad Peppas, and I apologized to the audience because I was being used. Wow. And it took the hubris that they approached that Damian Lillard thing and the failure of that for me to realize this is a systemic issue.
You shouldn't apologize, Mike. You were a victim there.
Okay, so
This
what's
victim blaming?
So what's going to happen though? Okay, what's going to happen? Maybe it even takes a couple of years. Couple years till
How
they're
many
good
years does
again.
Power Only have left?
Are
On
you
Earth?
you back as a fan then in a couple years when they're good again?
I like the Heat.
What happened?
What did he say? What happened?
He killed Pat Riley.
No, I didn't.
You said how many years does he have
Amin's
left?
leaving.
I asked a question.
Amin,
on Earth.
You've made Amin leave.
That's
Question.
garbage.
It's a question.
And
No, like to answer your question.
Dan was going to report something a couple weeks ago, and then it ended up turning into this ice cream thing. But it was like very morbid in the morning. I'm telling you, it was like a funeral that day. Everyone was
I thought
like,
he was dead.
I thought
something
he was
bad
dying.
is going on here behind the scenes. And then last minute pivot. I don't know if we got new test results or something, but it's like ice cream, not cookies. Everyone was confused. Amit was here. He remembers.
I was here. It was because Dan said, I have some very important Miami Heat news. I'm going to break it on air. And then he walked away. And so we all sat there like,
I went to the green room. He said, I can't be part of this meeting today. And we're like, whoa, Dan loves the meetings. He's in this meeting every single day. Hey, he's just blowing this off. This has to be something serious.
we all like in hushed tones are like,
What did you expect it to be?
Without Pat.
Stepping
Pat-
down
Things were
or-
going.
No, not stepping down.
No,
not stepping
for
down.
the final
thought he was
step
sick.
down.
It,
yeah.
it was either Pat is
Stepping 6
dangerously
feet under,
ill
we thought,
or he's no longer with us.
Like-
No, and
Tom-
we started, because we started thinking like, oh my gosh, they retired, they named the court after him.
Yeah.
The Lakers making a statue
Yeah.
after him. Like something's going on
There's
here.
a lot
All of a
of
sudden,
news.
everyone's honoring him out of the blue.
Yeah.
And now Dan is like very sad here.
He's
And then
upset.
boom, ice cream. And we're like, whoa, okay, well, okay.
it's on the television. Get Pat Riley out. And I want to object to only one thing that was said in the last, 10 minutes, which is that Zaslow, again, is saying what the Heat are guilty of and what the hubris is. And he said that already on the starting lineup this morning with Frank Isola
Iceman.
and Brian Scalabrine. Said the same thing word for word. Like the words were the same.
So I'm supposed to assume that your entire audience is the same as the audience from starting lineup.
I just don't want your recycled We're hiring you for good stuff.
It's my thought.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Joel doesn't come out and play new songs at his
It's
concert.
my opinion.
Piano Man, that's what he does. Billy Joel. You want the hits.
Pearl Jam does whatever it wants.
I can't believe Dan listened to that interview
To me,
this
is
morning.
the shocking thing is
what?
that Dan's just like mainlining starting lineup.
It's a good show.
I'm
It's a
telling
good
you right
show.
now.
It's a great show.
Anytime Dan Le Batard is in his car, he listens to NBA radio
Because it
because
was 80s on 8.
I know I get.
I hear
random
Amin
texts.
on a lot also.
I get a lot of screenshot texts.
Yep.
And it's always in the
Amin
car.
and Jason Jackson are getting it done on your Sunday mornings.
Jason
Jackson,
Jackson, if you're nasty.
I understand Zaz coming at me for being a bad fan. I'm still a Heat fan. I just don't want to be like
It's kind of
triggered.
garbage. Like in a couple of years, if the Heat are good again, you're going to be all in again. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, no,
okay, actually-
I'll be in again. I'm not watching them.
You're wearing a Panthers jersey today.
They're behind a paywall.
does
and
that
I said
mean?
flatly.
You abandon this team as soon as they get eliminated.
I'm
Sam C. Panther over here.
I'm
Victor
supporting
E.
the
over
only
here.
one of our teams that is still actively playing games.
No, support the team
Marlins.
that brought you here.
Look.
Dance with the one you brought. Dance with the one that brung you.
The Miami Heat acquired my least favorite player of all time, and then they put their games behind a paywall.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like rewarding them by accepting the paywall with the product that
You've
they were
had
putting
this
out
attitude
there.
for several years, man.
Look,
Yeah, because I haven't agreed with what the direction of the franchise. Like, do you want to talk about America and my feelings about that? Like, people can check out and circle back and be like, once there's a change in direction, I'm back in.
Mike, I'm going to stick up for you here because one of the things that happens as you get older is you begin to realize things that we were fixated on as younger people is so dumb. And one of the biggest ones for me is the idea that, like, I'm a fan of basketball. I love basketball. Who's your favorite team? It's XYZ, the Miami Heat. Why would I chain myself? If I'm a fan of basketball, why would I chain myself to watching bad version of basketball?
That's how fandom works.
No, but like if I'm a fan of basketball, wouldn't it be smarter to like I want to watch the team that plays fun and good basketball? So now I'll be a Cavs fan or maybe a Thunder fan, and then in a couple of years maybe it'll be the Rockets that'll be the best
I
team
don't
in
like
the
the guys. I don't like the guys. I've supported plenty of bad teams that I like. I was a Browns fan where they won
Yeah.
one game for
But
2
that's-
years, but I love Joe Thomas. I love Andrew Hawkins. Like, I don't like the guys on the team.
But it's the-
I don't like Bam. I don't like Tyler. I would have loved to have watched Jimmy. He was out half the games. Like, I'm sorry for cursing. I got emotional. This is why I said I was going to speak when spoken to. I'm sorry. It's just like, yeah, come at me for being a bad fan, but I think I got your ass on America. I don't see you guys wrapping yourself in the flag like you did during the Clinton years.
They did during the damn Four Nations Cup when everyone all of a sudden turned into the biggest patriot ever.
Yes, I couldn't believe what happened to my country, my people. Just everyone was swayed by patriotism in the middle of the year for a hockey tournament.
A made-up hockey tournament.
Can I just and yes,
Zaz is also Canadian.
everybody.
That's I'm born in this country. How
Wait a
dare
second.
you?
Hold on now. Hold on.
Just saying.
That wasn't a denial.
We'll have dual citizenship.
Well,
Pick a side.
now who's a fence sitter?
It's not my fault.
So when
It's almost exclusively.
So
your
when
fault.
America loses by 60, then you all of a sudden become a Canadian?
No,
Exactly right. Come in
I
with the
am
Canada jersey next
American.
day?
I am a proud American. I was born here. There is no denying that. Me being a dual citizenship is something my mother set up for me when I was born.
Just in case.
Just in case. That's true.
Just in case they
Just
get
in
swept.
case.
It's always that's what
in
his
case
nickname should
things
be.
went awry.
Just
in
in
this country.
case, Zaslow. Just in case the
Just
Heat are
in
bad to
case.
have this Panthers
Panthers
jersey.
jersey.
Just in case the Panthers are bad to have a Heat jersey. Just in case one of the countries I have citizenship in the other one. Just in case.
My approach to the Miami Heat is one that you revealed is your approach to the Florida Gators, even though you went to Santa Fe.
Wow.
I'm not doing this again.
Okay, wow.
You didn't go to UF?
This is
Hold on now.
He went to Santa Fe?
You went
Wait
to
a
Santa
second.
Fe, but it was
this.
close enough.
No.
Wait a minute.
No.
It's no
This-
shame in that. I know
this is-
people
I
in
went to
Santa
You're
Fe.
right.
community college.
There is no
There's
shame
no
in
shame,
that.
but don't pretend you're a Gator if you're not a
There
Gator.
is no shame in that.
If you're not a
And
Gator,
why
don't pretend you're a
would
Gator.
someone take credit for going to a community college if they never went to a community college?
So you didn't go
is no
there
shame.
either? Where'd you go?
University of Florida. I graduated. I have a degree
Wait a
in
second.
journalism
Santa Fe?
from the University of Florida. How dare you?
You guys quit inciting Zaz, please.
It's not the day, man. I'm super happy. Panthers last night.
Did
Come
you
on.
go to Santa Fe for like 2 years and then you went to UF?
If you asked me right now to go to Santa Fe Community College, and your life depends on you getting there,
Mine
I'd be
does.
dead. I would never know how to get
Okay,
there.
this is what's
'Cause you
happening
blocked it
around
out.
here. Billy, I need you because
Just ask.
all you had last night was Dodgers Marlins, and you're just mad.
No, I had my ice catch. What are you talking about?
That Zaslow,
And below deck med.
You're just mad that Zaslow gets to live a giant life right now with his sports fandom.
I'm on a
and,
heater, dog.
and Zaslow came in saying, I'm on a heater, dog.
Of course, if you always choose the winning team, your team's always going to win. What do you expect?
Got to the
Smart play.
casino Saturday night for Pearl Jam. Decided to play a little money wheel. Won $500.
Whoa,
That's
whoa,
right.
whoa.
Yeah.
Uncle Sam's listening. Shh.
Met Dave Bautista on the way out
That's
and
right.
talked to him, and his teenage son was mesmerized by how popular Zaslow was with Dave Bautista.
He had such a funny, organic reaction, my son. We're leaving the concert the other night, and I see walking right next. I think that's Batista. And obviously, we're huge pro wrestling fans because wrestling is everything. And I just go, Batista! And I give him a fist bump, and, hey. I go, and he's wearing a Pearl Jam shirt. I go, did you like the show? He goes, effing awesome. I go, effing awesome.
Must have gone Saturday.
And then my son no, it was Thursday. And then my younger son right next to me, because he'd never been around like celebrities and he loves Batista too, Drax, Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. My son sees me just casually talking to Batista, and my 13-year-old son Jordan goes, what? And I go, yeah, just go say hello to Batista. he was shook that we were talking to Batista.
And your Panthers give you the 11 seconds of your life last night?
I'm telling you, I almost passed out and fell down the stairs. I had to control myself for a moment there. I was so overly excited, jumping up. I forget. I don't know. I know you look at this face like, wow, he's super young. I'm not that young anymore, all right? And I got really excited, and I had to calm down for a
I don't
second.
think that these guys care the way that you do. I think that they've had parts of them extinguished here in places that...
No, I still have it.
Should have seen video me when they scored that third
You went
goal.
into it?
Oh, my God. I screamed for like 2 minutes straight. I left with a headache. I told
Did
you
you
earlier.
jump up and down? I jumped up and down.
I was jumping nonstop.
2 fists in the air?
That place was, everyone was. That place
Where were
went
your fists?
bananas.
Where were your fists, Chris? Where were your fists?
Show me. Give me an
Show me your-
example.
show me your
I
fist.
think I was more, I had my friend with me. I was more like,
yeah, I got that, I got
Like
that.
group bounce.
I'm a
yeah.
high-fiving.
you
like,
left with a headache.
Yeah, I got that.
like a splitting headache. I got the season ticket holders around me.
if
We're
you're
high-fiving.
if you're with someone you like, you got to jump on each other.
It's a
at
whole
big
routine.
moments.
You jump, you start high-fiving.
Yeah.
Calves hurt? Calves hurt?
everything hurts,
Any
Dan.
pain?
Well, no,
any
no.
soreness in the calves?
No,
voice
no
honestly
soreness. They beat the Heat pretty handily last night.
You guys ever wonder, like, when you're in an arena and you're jumping for joy, right? Because you're so excited and you're like, the engineers, they have to have planned for a lot of jumping.
I think
right?
about this all the time.
All the time, I think, how much jumping is too much jumping based on the structure here and what they planned for? Like, did the engineers plan for a very successful hockey team 20 years after you built the arena and we're going to have a lot of jumping? And, I'm assuming the average weight of the American has gone up in 20 years. So when you're planning this 20 years ago, are you thinking, an average American, carry the two, whatever, probably thinking like 250 for the average American, and they're jumping. How long can they jump before we're not structurally sound
No,
anymore?
and that arena is built to sink into the ground.
Yeah.
It
How
is-
do you test an arena? When you build it, it's like, all right, let's fill this thing up, make sure it's good for people. You got to just send people in.
You know what you do? You get Nathan Fielder to build a replica of the arena, and then have
That show's crazy.
it's
I
insane.
I can't believe what he's doing with television.
What's his budget? That's all. That's the only question I've had through 2 seasons now of the show. What is the budget?
He's getting the only money in Hollywood they're giving, like the Game of Thrones money. He's getting it.
It has to be. They're spending more on that than The Last of Us. I'll tell you that right now. Last of Us is shooting out on
No
location.
way.
They're spending. He built a replica.
He's using it to make a replica of Hudson News for some reason.
Hudson
really is
News.
amazing.
Hudson News. He built an entire terminal from Bush Intercontinental Airport.
I want to see
terminal.
his budget. I want to see what he's doing, what they're allowing. Like somebody is allowing real genius there in a way that's unusual. Like usually it's not funded like that.
And also, Dan, to be honest, Game of Thrones, they spent like $1 bajillion an episode, but like they got 10 million viewers right per episode every week. So it's like, okay, it's costs a lot, but it's getting great like reviews and audience attraction. I still feel like the rehearsal is like this small show that me and a couple of my friends
I'm just
watch.
learning about it over the last couple of days. I had Amin explain it to me a few minutes ago.
It might take a minute for interest to develop because I was interested from the first moment just because of who was making it and
Right.
because of the choices. He has he hasn't made anything that's bad. He makes interesting art, and on this he's being funded.
So it started with a segment on a show in Canada called Nathan on Your Side. And the segment was literally like 3 or 4 minutes long. And I can't even remember what the show was, but like they had like a recurring segment, Nathan on your side, and he goes and he helps like a small business, right? And then from that, they grew into Nathan for You, which was a bigger show helping 2 small businesses an episode for 30 minutes, right? 22 minutes of runtime. And now the rehearsal is like the latest evolution of this thing, where it is, as I told Zaz, it is the most sophisticated prank show in the world, right? Like we've reached a point in time where prank shows are people on the street acting like, oh, let's spill milk all over you. Ha ha, no, it's a prank, it's a prank. You stupid little clowns. That's not a prank show. That's just you being an asshole. A prank show is what this man is doing, where he is, to give you an example, there was a guy last season who was in a trivia crew and had a conversation that he wanted to have, but he was a little scared. So what Nathan did was rebuild the bar down to every spec, down to the upholstery being torn a little bit here, his upholstery there. He hired actors to play bartenders and patrons and the guy running the pizza oven, the functional pizza oven, right? And then he game planned basically with this dude how to have this confrontation. And they did it over and over and over again until when he finally did it for real, he walks into the bar and us as viewers could not tell whether this was the real bar or just another work because Nathan kept doing this. Every time you think this is real, it's like, no, this is still a rehearsal.
Oh, so they show you all the rehearsals.
Yes.
It's not just one rehearsal.
No.
They show you
all of it.
Again and again, and then they never tell you when the rehearsal is over because so you're like, okay, this is the real. No, wait, no, still a rehearsal. Still a rehearsal.
That's the genius of the show, is that basically every detail, you never know whether or not he's telling you the truth, whether this is scripted, whether it's an actor or a real person. Any of that is totally left up in the air. And I've never seen any show like it. It says that last year, the season 1, or I guess a few years ago, $60 million budget for season 1.
Don't you
That's
wonder?
what it says.
Don't you wonder how you even pitch a show like that?
I mean, for him, I would guess it's off the strength of, hey, I made Nathan for You, and that was a successful show. If you give me a little bit more money, I can push it to another limit. But $60 million sounds low.
Well, this is the
low.
second season. It's more this season. I want to get to a couple of things here. Mike Ryan was just criticizing Miami Heat management, and I'm imagining that Miami Heat management would receive that criticism the same way that Brandon Beane, the Bills general manager, received criticism of his drafts when he went on a local sports radio show.
Listen to the last few minutes of your show before I came on, waiting on here.
All right.
Sounds like 2018 all over with you guys.
Well, how so?
Well, you guys were in 2018 about Josh Allen. You guys wanted Josh Rosen, and now you guys are that we don't have a receiver. I don't get it. Like, we just hold on, let me talk. We just scored 30 points in a row for 8 straight games. A year ago, I get you guys asking why we didn't have receivers, but I don't understand it now. You just saw us lead the league in points when you add all the postseason. No one scored more points than the Buffalo Bills, including the Super Bowl champions. So you just saw us do it without Stephon Diggs, same group. How is this group not better than last year's group? Our job is to score points and win games. Where do we need to get better? Defense. We did that. So I get it. You got to have a show, and you got to have something to bitch about. But about wide receiver is one of the dumbest arguments I've heard.
There's a 4 count there.
I mean, the last part is obviously super condescending, but overall he's right.
Well, they scored a lot.
I would say the whole part was condescending.
The
The whole part was right.
They have more expertise than we do generally.
What does Ellisberg's voicemail sound like? Like, no one owns the Chicago Bulls in the play-in like this franchise. Over the last 3 years, we've displayed that time and time again. And also, you guys keep complaining that we have no title chances. Well, no one got their ass kicked harder than us in NBA history in a playoff series. That guy actually has.
Well, because no 10 seeds ever made the playoffs.
He said the most
history.
points. Ellisberg would be like, we scored the 27th most points this season.
We were the first 10 seed to ever make the playoffs. Look at us.
The 24th most points. Come on, get it right.
They're actual bona fides there. Like that's true. And by the way, get off his back. There's plenty of good free agent wide receivers out there.
If you heard him on the starting lineup this morning with Frank Isola and Brian Scalabrine, Jonathan Zaslow had a lot of things to say about the Miami Heat. And one of the things he had to say is, well, maybe we shouldn't have 10 seeds in the playoffs.
Fair.
I mean, how bad were the Hawks and the Bulls, though, that they
Fair.
lost?
Yes, but that we can agree, Heat, based on playing 82 regular season games and the results we have now in hand, probably shouldn't have been in the playoffs. And while we're at it, yeah, Bulls, yeah, Hawks, you shouldn't have been in either. While we're at it. Because if you lose to the Heat and a 10 seed, and we just saw what that is, a whole lot of people still feeling the embers of maybe Andrew Wiggins and that one time Jimmy did it to Giannis. You remember the one time? Nope, that's what it looks like almost every time you will see in the future that a 1 plays a 10.
Glass half full. Isn't that what the 1 seed should get? A patsy in the first round. That's what they should be getting. Why do we want that?
They should get a bye. They should get a bye.
Well, no bye. We got to play the game. Bye. Hold on now. You know how much gate revenue we got? How much parking and concessions? Huh? You think we just giving this shit away?
If you threw it in front of the owner, said you could have a bye and it automatically advanced to the semifinal, or you have to play.
They're playing.
I want to go back to something that we talked about briefly yesterday, but it really was something to behold this weekend on CBS Sunday Morning, a majestic television show made for Angela Lansbury and people who are 90 years old. Bill Belichick did an interview, and during that interview there was some awkwardness. Now here's Bill Belichick talking just about Robert Kraft and his relationship with Robert Kraft, but this show is an excellent show, but I've got to make fun of the broadcaster who did this interview because he was maximum television. Like this was some gotcha CBS Sunday Morning was doing.
I have to ask about Robert Kraft because 24 years together, 6 Super Bowls. Unless I'm wrong, he's not in this book. How come?
He's not. Well, again, it's about my life lessons in football, and it's really more about the ones that I experienced directly.
But he's not even in the acknowledgement section.
Correct.
Do you feel like you were treated with dignity and respect when you were let go by Robert Kraft?
Yeah, well, it was a mutual decision for us to part ways.
He said fired.
It was a mutual decision.
I want to play the awkwardness of Jordan Hudson, sort of his manager, according to Pablo Torre, finds out and handling a lot of his business. And it is now being reported that UNC is concerned with Jordan Hudson, and also Jordan Hudson is. She's releasing on her social media the suggestion that Bill Belichick is about to have some commentary going forward.
Yeah, so there's been a couple developments. Late night, TMZ reported that the interview was actually worse than we saw. They had to cut 30 minutes from it. Jordan, at one point, according to TMZ, stormed out expecting Bill Belichick to follow her. Now, earlier in the show today, I followed Jordan on Instagram, and she screen capped what is purported to be an email written by Bill Belichick, kind of explaining the situation and how they feel decontextualized in the media and getting unfair coverage.
Viral
saying that a full statement's coming later today. And I got to say, like, however this ends or whatever, but like this is a very strange, peculiar story arc for Bill Belichick's legacy that I don't think many people kind of saw coming.
Can we all agree there's nothing worse than come on, we're leaving, and you storm out and then the other person doesn't leave? That's a lonely place to be.
Well, let's listen here and watch here at the awkwardness of her being off camera, and there being some. The reports were from Florio and others that there were many moments like this, and CBS Sunday Morning just aired one of them.
The other change for Belichick is 24-year-old Jordan Hudson, his creative muse, as he writes in his book.
Make sure that that's the.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on, though Hudson has recently posted about it on Instagram.
You joined InstaFace, as you put it. I love that. There's some great pictures of you and Jordan, where you're a fisherman and she's a mermaid. It's charming. It's a different side of you. What's the reaction been like?
What's it been like?
To have these different sort of photos. There's another one where you're doing, I know you're not into meditation or yoga or Pilates. You're balancing Jordan on your feet. She's doing kind of the Titanic pose.
Yeah, so I'm on some of those social media platforms, but I honestly don't follow them.
This is where the media game has passed him by because he thinks we're on to Cincinnati's going to work in that spot. Not once you got the pictures of you on the beach, Coach.
We have this one where you're a fisherman and she's a mermaid. I just love dissecting these ridiculous Instagram posts.
Chris, the sigh and the kind of little gaze he had right there, I know exactly what that is. It's like, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Man, I knew I shouldn't have let her talk me into doing that. That's what that is.
Don't blame that on her. He makes his own decisions.
I really doubt Bill Belichick is uploading the photos on Instagram.
I certainly don't think it was his idea.
No, I think that some of these things, he's like, let's take this picture, it'll be fun. He's like, okay. And he has no thought as to where this is going to end up.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, he's getting the news the fisherman, mermaid, oh, you guys have seen
You think
that
he's
one?
learning?
He thought that was just. I love the idea of him not knowing that's out there.
You know of this? You know the day we
That
did
was an intimate detail. What's going on with his shirt?
How about putting on a shirt where you don't look like a bum? You're on CBS.
Is this a style thing?
Are you familiar with Bill Belichick?
CBS.
Absolutely. This is him getting styled by her. And if you want proof, did you see what she was wearing?
She was wearing a Navy shirt, too. But he's had holes in his clothes for 20 years.
It seems purposeful.
That's purposeful, man.
It seems purposeful when he goes out to a presser and has holes in his clothes. It's always what he does. He very clearly is head over heels. Yeah. I mean, we've known Bill Belichick. I've known of Bill Belichick for 35 years. And this is crazy behavior.
You know what? I love love.
Yeah, I love love. Man, dude,
if you would have said to me,
for
who in sports would be least likely to get caught up in just this story of what we're talking about, I would have thought Bill Belichick.
There were signs.
There's a lot of creepy old men.
There were signs. There were signs. It's not too surprising. It's surprising that she's basically
okay.
Now his
she's his creative muse.
This is what I'm not gonna say, and you're not allowed to say.
Love.
This isn't surprising. I know you know it all, but I didn't have him as a fisherman with a mermaid taking pictures.
From game night to parties with friends or special anniversary, celebrating important occasions means more moments with the coolest people in your life. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite, the great tasting light beer for people who love beer since 1975. Now's a perfect time to celebrate legendary stories with friends, family, and a great tasting light beer. It's Miller time. When I think of Miller Lite, I think of me and my dad cheersing, watching a Marlins game, on a cruise together. We get the and the cheers. It's just, when I think of Miller Lite, I think of times with my dad, times with family and friends. It's the original light beer since 1975, still iconic 50 years later. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
I believe that Zaslow critiquing your wardrobe is not something that anyone had coming today. Zaslow calling anyone underdressed or poorly dressed, when I am certain that there are items of clothing in his closet that are older than Greg Cody, grandfathered in, you shouldn't be calling anybody a bum.
If I was on CBS Network, I'm not wearing a holy shirt.
That's why I think of me. I know Mike's right that on sidelines he does this a lot, but this is a choice. You're doing an interview with CBS Sunday Morning. This feels like a style choice.
Dog, I've seen a lot of my friends go down this path where you're in love with a woman and you love like I love love, and she has suggestions, and you're like, you know what? I am not a stylish person, as my default. So why can't
She's
I?
like, holes your thing.
Yeah,
you gotta lean into it.
Lean into it.
Yeah, strategic. I let me clarify. Yeah, this is a little surprising. I'm not surprised by the love aspect. We followed his ex-girlfriend on IG. He would be down for all that stuff. I saw him at Gronk's Beach House letting loose. This is not – the fact that he would fall this in love and be that public with it is not that surprising to me. It's the fact that she has seemingly replaced Mike Lombardi that has surprised me.
Do you think at some point CBS, when they showed up, they said, "Is that what you're wearing?" Or they're just like, yeah, this makes sense.
Is Amin alleging matching outfits? Because the New York Post is reporting today that the consensus among people around Belichick, according to a source, is that this relationship is, quote, alarming, and Hudson is, quote, a runaway train, end quote.
Look, man, she's a young lady who's opinionated, who has a very clear vision, and that vision apparently inspires Bill Belichick. And so people around him, because they're going to be like, oh, I don't know why, and she's making all these decisions. But the reality is everyone needs to just love and just support them.
You've mentioned that a few different times. Yes, you said that. Let's get to Juju here. You really didn't have a rebuttal, though, for the fact that you would admit, Zaz, right, that your sartorial splendor is somewhat limited and probably a great frustration to your wife and people who love you.
Well, you're using words here, sartorial. I don't know what they mean, so I'm just kind of going to shrug at that one.
Does your wife approve of your closet?
It was an obnoxious sentence you said there.
Does your wife approve of your closet?
Oh, she hates it. She hates when I thank you. Why couldn't you have said that from the start?
Sartorial wonder.
See, words. I have no idea what you're saying. You say words like that, I take it as disrespect. I don't know what you mean.
Juju, thank you for joining us. Good seeing you. What's the commentary? Surely you heard us fall into the quicksand with Chris Cody on wedding garters, and you must have enjoyed that.
Hell yeah, y'all left my boy Chris on an island. But the YouTube chat was there for my dog Chris. Jason Barber from the YouTube chat says, Chris Cody is correct. I've been to several weddings where the recipients of the bouquet and the garter belt then have like a garter belt put up the leg of the bouquet recipient. Like, so it's out there on the YouTube chat. You feel me? That Chris Cody might be a little right.
It's been settled. Chris Cody felt very alone. It was the Piranha were circling on him. Billy had a lot of very strong opinions. Amin was very judgy.
Yeah, but Chris kind of did it to himself because he explained it not in the best way. You started talking about a dude's leg and all that.
Well, yeah, I got a little confused. Because I remember my wedding where they swapped him out, so that's why.
A note that Mike didn't mention from the Jordan Hudson Instagram post is that in that screen cap of an email, there is a song playing with the Instagram post, which you can do now, which is Look What You Made Me Do by Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and the email was definitely written by Bill Belichick, 100%.
Juju, do you have any, now that Amin is giving a Tuesday television recommendation, do you have any television recommendations for us? We will spoil the rehearsal tomorrow.
Oh, yes, I do. I waited a couple weeks to make sure this show was as good as I thought it was. But ladies and gentlemen, I give you the permission and I give you the suggestion to check out Mobland on Paramount Plus. Tom Hardy, take a bow. Pierce Brosnan is back. Helen Mirren is back. What a show. Every episode so far has been stupendous. So check out Mobland on Paramount Plus when you get a chance.
You haven't recommended anything since Paradise, have you?
Hell nah. And I'm back recommending because, dog, rarely is a show just have me hooked like these shows like that I'm mentioning. So, yeah, Mobland, Tom Hardy, the cast of this show, I love everything from British, like every British television show mostly. I'm like my boy Chris Whittingham, you dig me? I think I'm a London lad and a fancy one at that. So check out Mobland ASAP.
I loved Paradise. That's my show.
So good.
What do you have for us in terms of a Joker of the Day? Do we have a Joker of the Day?
Yeah, I got two quick Jokers of the day. You feel me? Tyler Hero, my brother, you can't say you're not gonna lose the next game and lose by 100 points. And you had four points, 1 for 10 shooting, 1 for 9 3-pointers. My brother, not a great look. Also, second Joker of the day, Ja Morant. You can't get swept and then be like, oh, I had him figured out. If I wouldn't have got hurt, we would have. I had it. Even though I get what she's saying, he got hurt, and then they was up 25, 30 points at the time, but you got swept, brother. You can't say that. Oh, I would have beat him up if my shoe wasn't untied. Yeah, so those are my two Jokers of the day. You feel me?
What else you got from basketball? Any Golden State opinions?
Yeah, that Warriors Rockets series right now, that's prime time. I hate that it's so late at night, so I got to be staying up so late.
It's a good series.
Hell yeah, dog. Draymond Green is unhinged. Like, he should have got kicked out of the game around the second quarter, but the referees allowed it. They called it a flagrant foul instead of a technical, his second technical. I got a suggestion, though, for Houston Rockets. Jack Landale, who else? Cam Whitmore. Give them boys some time to get in the game just to go agitate Draymond. Just say, hey, Landale, walk up to Draymond, flick his nose and say, I beat your ass. And Draymond will get kicked out of the game ASAP. He has no composure. He doesn't give a damn. He had 5 fouls, and they sat him out the whole fourth quarter. But the most important part of the fourth quarter, whenever Sengun tried to hit the last winning shot, he was there to take care of business. Defensive Player of the Year finalist, as he should be. Get him out the game early.
Most guys get a technical foul, and their behavior gets toned down a little bit. It's like, all right, I don't want to get thrown out here. Draymond gets a technical. His behavior gets worse for the rest of the game. And none of these referees have the guts to...
He's daring him. He's daring him to be the center of the story and eject him.
The best time to speed is after you just got a speeding ticket.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at LeBatard Show. Is the best time to speed just after you got a speeding ticket? Because I've gotten 2 speeding tickets, right? Yeah, by 2 different police officers.
In the same drive?
Yeah, like yeah, because
way.
yes, because school zone, yes, because the second thing was the school
The
zone.
same school zone? Like you started someone stopping and then
No. I
Peel
don't
down.
want to talk about it
Oh,
anymore.
it's awful.
Yeah,
Did you hit a
I don't agree with what you're saying.
Bragging about a school zone ticket.
I'm not bragging. That wasn't bragging.
Look at me, Louis.
I can speed through school zones. I'm Dan Le Batard.
That is what I shout in my convertible, smoking a cigar, blowing
Screw
smoke,
you, kids.
blowing smoke in the face of toddlers. First grader with a backpack. Screw you, kid. I'm Dan Le Batard. I can fly through here at 60 miles an hour. You and your 15-mile-an-hour rules. I'll put the cigar out right in your forehead. Call your dad. I'm Dan Le Batard.
Your dad's probably a fan.
He's like a little kid on a scooter, and you're just blowing by him, giving him the bird.
Yeah, careening through the school zone. What do you have for us in the way of poll updates, Juju?
Yes, sir. Before the polls, I want to give my GM some credit. Brandon Beam was absolutely correct. Brother, we scored so many points all year long, and what killed us at the end of the year was Patrick Mahomes. Hike, he looks Kyer Elam. Oh, easy. Scooby snacks. Instant passes. Oh, DeMar Hamlin, God bless the dead. Instant pass over to his side. We had no DBs. I wanted them to draft nothing but DBs, and they did take a wide receiver late, so I understand his anger and frustration with the media. You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't. Neither here nor there, which also neither here nor there. Sounds like Ron McGill kind of agreed with someone's 100 gorilla take from yesterday. Neither here nor there.
Juju, you guys don't know. You guys think it just started yesterday. All weekend long, he's been fascinated. We've been in this group chat where he's just talking shit about gorillas the whole time. I mean, just talking wild shit about gorillas.
Not afraid of
unafraid of the
gorillas.
Guys thought Chris Cody was disrespectful to giraffes. I wish I could publish the text that Juju was sending about the gorillas.
He's disrespecting gorillas more than anybody is.
Oh my God! It was. I was laughing the whole time. I didn't engage Juju, but I was laughing the whole time. You and Jason Madison were just going in on gorillas. And so while we're doing the segment, Juju screenshotting Ron McGill's answer and throwing it in the group chat. Just like case closed.
Salute to the Dr. Ron McGill, the brilliant doctor that he is. First poll, do you want to watch extra inning West Coast baseball? 77% of the audience says no, they do not.
Billy, I thought the Dodgers and Marlins extra innings.
What are you going to see the Dodgers score a billion runs? Dodgers aren't fun. We can just
they're ruining everything.
Dodgers aren't fun for baseball.
They're
winning every game. And by the way, they should be a lot better. If I was there, I'd be looking into the front office and figuring out why the Dodgers, who cost $500 billion a year, are 18-10.
It cost them the game, even though they won the game.
They're not fun. It's not fun to see the Dodgers.
The rare ruining baseball, and also why aren't they winning more?
They should be winning more. They should win every single game. The Dodgers should be undefeated with what they're paying their players.
But they're not.
I know.
But you're like complaining as...
Well, it's not fun.
This is like when the big three got together in Miami, and Jeff Van Gundy said they're gonna go 79-3, which everyone was like, "Oh, Jeff Van Gundy is really high on the Heat." I'm like, no, that's not what he's doing. He's doing if you bastards lose any games, you messed up. You messed up royally.
Well, what Billy just did, though, is the Dodgers are winning every game. They should be better.
They should be better. They shouldn't be tied with the lowly Giants in their division. Are we disagreeing with that notion?
Every time I look up, they need 7 runs and they get 8.
Well, first it was like, I don't want to watch them score 100 runs.
I don't.
But they're not doing that. But they should be. It's like, what's your argument?
No, they've scored 123 runs. The Dodgers are a super team, but they're not that super.
They have the second best record in baseball.
Yeah. They should have the best by far, by leaps and bounds.
Half a game.
More polls, Juju.
Also, was flown under the radar, which a lot of listeners of the show brought to my attention. Dan, why did you think that Anthony Edwards moment happened at WrestleMania?
Yeah, that's a good point.
What was that?
That's a good point.
It's not that he thought it. It's that he tried to fight me and Tony on it. We're like, Dan, he was at the scores table.
I've got a couple of short circuits here and there that happen every couple of days.
If hell had an eternal open bar, would you consider going? 60% of the audience says yes, they would.
Wow.
That's why they're in hell.
Wow.
It's a good crowd down there.
But it's all Jägermeister and Fireball.
Yeah. Hitler's probably down there, though. So
Okay, now way to
there's a
ruin
couple bad apples.
Jesus. Couple?
Hell yeah. Speaking of bad apples,
Way to ruin
Puka
hell.
Nakua brother slapped a fan in the UFL over the weekend.
Puka Nakua's brother.
Right. Neither here nor there. Could you memorize 143 names in 2 days? 78% of the audience says no, they could not.
That's why they're not in the NFL.
Yeah. Shador Sanders, you guys think, in order, by the way. It's not just 143 names. You guys had him drafted in order.
Can't even do that over the course of 20 years. Before Thanksgiving, I get like a little refresher course.
Cheat sheet, like little notes.
Like, what's the girl that was dating the guy, the cousin? We met him
with the fingers waggling like
that.
Thing.
Yeah. And then whatever Cynthia says, she's like, Janet. I knew that. It was Janet.
That's always the move. You just whatever name they say, you just agree wholeheartedly.
Janet.
Another poll, Juju.
No, those are your polls.
Oh,
for
I'm
today.
sorry.
Magnificent
Okay.
Show.
Hell
yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Zaz, as well. Go Heat.
I don't love your jacket.